The development of the automobile traces back to the invention of the first steam-powered vehicle in 1672. However, it wasn't until Nicholas Joseph Cugnot built the first steam-powered automobile capable of human transportation in 1769 that significant progress was made. As the 19th century began, investors branched out and created the de Rivas engine, which was one of the first internal combustion engines, and experimented with early electric motors. Samuel Brown tested the first industrially applied internal combustion engines in 1826, but progress was slowed in the mid-19th century due to a backlash against large vehicles. From the early days of engines churning and gasoline igniting, engineers tirelessly worked to overcome challenges and push the boundaries of what was possible. And in 1886, the legendary Karl Benz unveiled his masterpiece, a gasoline-powered automobile that was both practical and could be produced on a mass scale. This was the very first modern automobile, and it kick-started the automotive industry as we know it today. Karl Benz's first automobile was a three-wheeled vehicle powered by a single-cylinder four-stroke gasoline engine. The engine was mounted on a chassis made of steel tubing and had a maximum output of 0.75 horsepower, which allowed the vehicle to reach a top speed of 10 miles per hour. The car had a rudimentary steering system, and the front wheels could be turned with a lever. The driver sat on a wooden bench and controlled the vehicle's speed with a simple hand-operated throttle. The vehicle's body was made of wood and metal, and it had large wire-spoked wheels with solid rubber tires. The car was fueled by benzene, which had to be purchased from a pharmacy at the time, and it had to be started using a hand crank. Despite its simple design, the car was a breakthrough in automotive engineering and marked the beginning of a new era in transportation. But the race to create the ultimate car didn't end there. In 1908, the Ford Motor Company took the reins and introduced the world to the Model T, a sleek and powerful vehicle that would change the course of history. Thanks to the introduction of the moving assembly line, the Model T was the first car to be mass-produced, making it more accessible than ever before. These revolutionary developments paved the way for a world where cars would be more than just a luxury. They would become a necessity. In the early days of the automobile, the driving force behind progress was the hunt for a trusty and transportable power source to propel these fascinating machines. The pioneers of the automobile industry were relentless in their pursuit of an engine that would move their vehicles beyond the limitations of animal-drawn carts and carriages. Ferdinand Verbiest, a member of a Jesuit mission stationed in China, constructed a steam-powered vehicle in 1672 as a toy for the Kangxi Emperor. Although it was too miniature to carry a driver, this little marvel may have been the world's first functional steam-powered vehicle or automobile. However, it wasn't until the late 18th century that steam-powered vehicles were developed that were large enough to transport people and cargo. In 1770 and 1771, Nicholas Joseph Cugnot demonstrated his experimental steam-powered artillery tractor, known as the Fardia à vapeur. Unfortunately, Cugnot's design was ultimately deemed impractical and was not developed further in his native France. Instead, the focus innovation shifted to Great Britain. William Murdoch built a functional model of a steam carriage in Redruth by 1784, and by 1801, Richard Trevithick had a full-size vehicle running on the roads in Camborne. These remarkable developments laid the foundation for the growth of the automobile industry that would revolutionize transportation around the globe. In the 19th century, engineers and inventors attempted to make steam-powered vehicles practical for everyday use. They developed innovations such as handbrakes, multi-speed transmissions, and better steering. However, a backlash against these large vehicles resulted in legislation, like the UK Locomotive Act of 1865, which required many self-propelled vehicles on public roads to be preceded by a man on foot waving a red flag and blowing a horn. This effectively stopped road auto development in the UK, and inventors shifted their focus to improving railway locomotives until the law was repealed in 1896. Despite these setbacks, some pioneers still made breakthroughs. In 1816, Joseph Bozek, a professor at Prague Polytechnic, built an oil-fired steam car. Walter Hancock, builder and operator of London steam buses, built a two-seated car phaeton in 1838. Canadian jeweler Henry Seth Taylor demonstrated his four-wheeled steam buggy in 1867 and 1868, which had a high-wheeled carriage with a two-cylinder steam engine mounted on the floor. Amédée Bollée in Le Mans built self-propelled steam road vehicles to transport groups of passengers in 1873. In the US, Dr. J.W. Carhart, a minister of the Methodist Episcopal Church, invented a steam-powered vehicle in Racine, Wisconsin in 1871, which induced the state of Wisconsin to offer a $10,000 reward to the first person who could produce a practical substitute for the use of horses and other animals. The offer led to the first city-to-city automobile race in the US in 1878, starting in Green Bay and ending in Madison. Only 2 vehicles competed, with the Oshkosh finishing the 201-mile course in 33 hours and 27 minutes, with an average speed of 6 miles per hour. In 1879, the legislature awarded half of the prize. By the early 1930s, steam-powered vehicles had reached their peak with advanced lightweight boilers and efficient engine designs. However, the development of internal combustion engines during World War I made them more reliable and easier to operate. The UK tax changes in the 1930s made steam wagons economically unviable. The high-speed diesel engine began to replace them. Although some designers continue to advocate for steam power, no significant developments in steam car production occurred after Doble in 1931. As for the future of steam cars, it remains to be seen if they will ever make a comeback in later technological eras. In the 1950s, there was interest in steam turbine cars powered by small nuclear reactors. But concerns about the dangers of nuclear fission technology quickly killed these ideas. Magazines such as Light Steam Power continue to describe steam cars into the 1980s. In a world where climate change is becoming an ever-present threat and gas prices continue to rise, the idea of electric cars has become a shining beacon of hope. Thanks to advancements in battery technology, the once humble electric car has undergone a miraculous transformation, offering a cleaner and more cost-effective alternative to traditional gasoline vehicles. And with the looming threat of peak oil, the idea of an electric future has never been more appealing. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed learning about the history and current trends in cars. Don't forget to leave a comment below letting us know what kind of car you drive and your thoughts on the role of cars in climate change. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more informative content like this. See you in the next video.